Wagwan. Wagwan. It's your boy LP Coach, and we're back. Yes, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. Game week 11 Premier League. We're at it again, And do you know what? And I even forgot in the last show how disrespectful. I'm going to even move on to that. But again, let's think about the people them in Jamaica, my people them. Little thought for them. Hurricane Melissa, anything you can, donations. I see everyone doing donations all over the place. Even me, I'm going to set up a little football match soon. Details coming out, so don't forget to look out for that on the social media. But yeah, again, horrible disaster out there. And it's good to see, like, it's just when you're looking at everyone coming together and helping out the people, even me, I can't lie, I'm surprised about how quick and how fast everyone's just getting everything together. It just goes to show that moments like this just give like hope and thanks and just believe in it that there's a better side to the world. So just for that, before we kick into in there, anything you can, just go back and give back to Jamaica and help out the people. Then appreciate that. But yes, back into the show, my Next Generation Baller Show. Game week 11, we're outside. And you know, in the last one year, how did I not talk about always Man United? Because right now, I can't lie, I'm feeling good. I know we had a draw last week again against Nottingham Forest, but I've been saying it. We're in the title race. Man United is in the title race. Like, no one can't tell me that. Man United is in the title race. No one will hear nothing tell me. And see what it is. I keep saying it, but see this group chat, the group chat here. The charges that I've got here, these men are going to be brought to the table. But I'm going to start letting you know so you lot can know, some of the jewel that man get taught. But I come out with my wild takes. Like, people are going to sit there and tell me, like, you always say crazy stuff when it comes to Man United. Listen, when it comes to Man United, that's my team. I love Man United to death, and they're not going to stop me from loving my team. But boy, right now, I'm in a good place, and the performance is what we're showing, and how we are able to manage losing positions, how we are when we're winning games, and just the difference in attack. Me personally, I just said the players was a big problem. And Amrin looks like to have changed that culture. And one of the things that I enjoyed the most, there's two important things. The first thing, I said the other thing before, at this point I haven't said. The point in terms of him sticking to what he believes in. Him sticking to his stuff. Eric Ten Hag tried to revert back to this, what works for Manchester United, to slowly try to bring something out, but it didn't work. And ultimately, we just ended up being rubbish. But no, Ruben, he stuck through the rough times. Sometimes you have to go through them rough times to see the light. And now Man United are starting, hopefully, to see the fruits of his labor. And this game against Tottenham, for me, is a bigger game than Liverpool. Because against Liverpool, like me, anyway, I expect Man United has never had a problem against the big clubs. I know last season we lost against them. We ain't beat Spurs in 6 games, like let alone the cup final. But the fact that this game is a big game against a big team with Liverpool, it's our rival, so we always know we're gonna have a chance against Liverpool, innit? Like it's one of them games. Doesn't matter where you are in the table, Liverpool, that's the game that everyone's gonna be up for. But this type of game against Spurs, decent team, having a good season, good quality, and the record we got against them as well, which again, not beating them in 6 games. For me, this is much more important than Liverpool. If we can get this victory and then go into the international break, because right now. So, big up, DT Priv, big you up. The comment there, I've got Pope, goalkeeper, 3 defenders, Matt defending, James Kane, 4 midfielders, rest. Oh, is that your EPO? Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds Mickey van der Ven. Or did you see his goal this week in the Champions League? Oh, that was outstanding. For me, that's Puskas. That goal against Copenhagen, running from his own box into the other half, into the box, scoring that goal. Fantastic. Yeah, so having him in there is a good shot. But Reece James, good player as well. 4 midfielders, Rice, Moreno, Gonor, and Semenyo, my favourite player so far. Neto, also effective in there. Yeah, so it's a good shot. But I have to look at my one, though. I have to look at my PFL. I'm doing quite well. Don't forget as well, I've got a PFL there as well. Winner of the PFL gets £100. So join the league. The code is somewhere. Go check on the TikTok somewhere. The code is somewhere. Go check that. I even might be in the description. If it's not, I'm going to put it in the description after the show. Don't forget to join our PFL league. I think I'm about 8th in there. I think I'm 8th about now. Last week, I didn't really quite change it, but I'll pick it back up. I'll get myself back up in there. But back to Man United again. For us, Obviously, away from home hasn't really been a good bearer for us. So against this game against Tottenham, it's important for us to get this result. Like I said, it's bigger than the Spurs game. And if we can get this result before the international break, then really and truly, Manchester United have to be thinking about the title. Like, I know we're talking about this process and time and this, and everyone's been talking about this Arteta and this and that, but we're not Arsenal. Do you know what I'm saying? Arsenal can do their stuff and their process stuff, but Man United, we're here for the big stuff. And I know we've been suffering. And even though the years that we have been suffering, we have won more titles than Arsenal in the last 5 years. I just want to put that out there. If we get ourselves in a position where we can challenge for that title, and with Arsenal being the challengers, I'm going to talk about Arsenal later on in the show, where I feel that a lot of teams will have confidence, even though Arsenal do seem quite solid, but I do think a lot of teams right there below Arsenal, it is very, very congested. So it's important for Man United to get this victory and keep this consistency and go into that international break. Good confidence, everyone comes back. And again, this one game a week for Man United is going to be very, very vital for them. Tottenham, again, is played in midweek against Copenhagen. It's going to be maybe a struggle for them in terms of early kickoff. Some clubs been complaining, some clubs been dealing with it. We see how it goes on. But for me, Man United have to take advantage of all these little details and home the in on game by game. You never know. Yeah, we're Manchester United at the end of the day. And with the change with the attack now, Cunha getting his first goal, and Bremo really kicking on, Sesko really looking like a force up front. Man United, Ruben Amorim did say at the start of the season, we're going to get better as the season goes on. And we're going to get better. So for me, I'm an optimistic Man United fan. Doesn't matter where we are, I always believe we've got a chance of winning a trophy. And right now, I believe Man United have a chance of being in that title race. And there's no reason why not. If the players step up and continue doing the likes of Bruno and the likes of Cunha and Benwell, like I mentioned, and Sesko step up to the plate, we can go and mount a challenge. And for Spurs, obviously, a lot of talk about they're playing good football. There's a little bit ups and downs. We saw that stuff with Mickey van der Ven and Spence, but then the team put in a good performance during midweek, so I think that kind of put that to bed. But I think with Spurs, again, their issue may be the transition from midweek to Premier League. Again, we're going to see against Manchester United how to handle that. Goals, been an issue for them. Richarlison, top goal scorer, 3 goals. They'll expect them to score more goals. Creativity issue there. I know what's his name? Maddison is still injured. But again, Spurs will be looking to be getting more goals. Defensively, don't see a quite issue. Just spoke about Mickey van der Ven having a very good season. I think Spence is having a very good season as well. So defensively, the goalkeeper as well is doing really well. So Spurs will definitely see themselves having a chance of getting a good result against Manchester United, considering their record of being undefeated against Man United in the last 6 games against them. So it's going to be important for Spurs to kick on and do what they need to do if they want to come back and also be in amongst that. I think there are a bit of iterations with the fans, but I think the fans are going to accept the way that they're performing in the Champions League. If they can still be competitive in the league and pick their Champions League spots, then I think they'll give them a saving grace if they do decent in the league. My prediction for that game is going to be a tight game. I won't be surprised if it's a draw. Being a Man United fan, obviously I want Manchester United to go on and win the game, but I can see a draw, and I will be happy with a draw. Man United still being unbeaten, but I'm going to say Man United win, cheeky 1-0 or maybe a 2-1, because Man United, both teams, but Man United more prone to conceding goals than Spurs. Moving on to the next big game in this title conundrum that we got here. Yes, we know Arsenal slightly running away with it right now, but Manchester City versus Liverpool on the Sunday, big game. Manchester City right now coming in slowly. Like I said this last week about Manchester City and how they are going on in the league. And with Manchester City and their experience now they're being second in the league, had a little bit of a wobble. Good performance in the week. 4-1 victory against Borussia Dortmund in the week. Foden looking on fire. Haaland scoring again. I think that's 26 goals for him now in the season. 13 of them coming in the league. And I think with Manchester City sitting second now with the experience and of the manager that they've got with Pep Guardiola. I said it last week. He looks like he's happy. He looks like he's in his step. He's got a lot of quality around him. And I feel like he's quite comfortable with the players and their development and what he's going to get over the course of the season. So for Manchester City, like I said, being second now, I think with the pressure not really on them, I feel for them, they will definitely have more of the confidence going into this game. I know Liverpool beat Real Madrid midweek, but for Manchester City, I feel like again, with the experience and where they are, with the quality that they've got and where Pep is as a team, because I don't really feel like they have much issues in that team, any conundrums as much as Liverpool, where there's issues with Isak and Wirtz and of the likes fitting into the squad with Kirkes. But I think Manchester City are quite settled. Obviously, a lot of them players was there, the treble winning team and winning the titles over the last 3 years. So Manchester City definitely a team to keep a lookout for in terms of being that little, because like I said, there's a little conundrum there. There's a little team from, I think it's from 2nd to 6th place. All them teams, depending on how they perform after the international break, the next 5 games is going to determine how they perform over the next course of that season in terms of really challenging Arsenal in that title race. And obviously Liverpool, big win again in midweek. Performance, obviously Real Madrid, we can say it's a good performance, but we all know Real Madrid haven't been having the best season. Alonso hasn't really getting Real Madrid to the levels that we quite expect. So that victory against Liverpool, it maybe can be a bit misguided because Liverpool haven't really quite been bedding it in the league. Wirtz did have a good game, but then the debate come out is his performances more suited to European football than Premier League football? And is that going to be the big issue for Liverpool and their title, challenge, but retaining their title, I should say. So for Liverpool, again, then questions still remain in terms of Kirkes, Isak, again, struggling to get into form, struggling to score in the Premier League. So it's going to be a big game for Liverpool. Being at home for them, obviously the crowd always gives them an edge, gave them the edge against Real Madrid, and it looks like, and hopefully they'll hope that they can get them the edge over in this game. Defensively, there's always an opportunity there, and with the way that Haaland's been performing, it's going to be an interesting battle between Haaland and Van Dijk. We saw the way Van Dijk got into Rooney this season, and for me with Van Dijk, personally, when people have been talking about Van Dijk, I don't think Van Dijk's been having a poor season, if I'm being honest. I think the issue with Van Dijk, me as well, my playing, when I used to play, even now, my best position was as centre-back. And I understand how to play centre-back, and I know the conundrums of when different partners and formations and people come into that system. It's about knowing different people. So I think that's been the difficulty with Van Dijk. I don't think specifically his quality, or they say the legs are gone kind of moment, because he's kind of rebutted that many times. I don't think that's been the issue. I think the issue for him is understanding his new teammates and them not understanding him in terms of how he plays. And I think that's, obviously you've seen some games they perform well, some games they haven't. But I think overall, that is the big dilemma for Liverpool over the season, is gelling all these players and trying to regain that title. And me personally, I do feel Liverpool are going to have a say in the title race, but I don't think they're going to win it this season, simply because they're just going to be taking time to rebuild that squad. They're going to rebuild the team and getting where they need to get into getting where they need to get to as a team to go on and challenge again for the major honours. But I could see them being a dominant force in the European, in the Champions League, simply because of the type of players that they've got and how the Champions League, when you're playing with teams that are more expansive and have more opportunity to play and express yourself. So I definitely see Liverpool being more of a threat in the Champions League than in the Premier League this season. My prediction for this game, I think it could be an interesting game. I do see loads of goals. It could be a game that the Liverpool players do turn up, and we could see the likes of Isak, the likes of Wirtz really going in on Manchester City. And it could be a game where we see Haaland run wide. And we see the likes of Reinders, who I think is starting to gel back in. Foden as well, scored 2 amazing goals midweek against Borussia Dortmund. Looks to be really back in form. And again, like I said, World Cup year. We know how important the World Cup year and how these players are performing. And when it comes to someone like Phil Foden, missing out on them last 2 squads, he's definitely a player that's going to be consistent and getting himself in that World Cup swap. So for me, I can see a draw, but I can also see a Liverpool win, and I can see a Man City win. But if I'm going to pull it out there, I think Manchester City going and win this game. And I'll probably say a lot of goals in this game. So I'll probably say 3-2 to Manchester City. Moving on to the league leaders, Arsenal. Team that's kind of grinding my gears right now. But Arsenal, sitting top of the league. Arsenal, they go away to Sunderland on Saturday. And for Arsenal, I think Arsenal will be happy where they are. Obviously, sitting top of the league, no issues. Team look quite gelled, look quite settled, but not threatening. For me, Arsenal are not looking scary. I'm being honest with you. Like, yes, I know they're winning and they're getting results and they're doing what they need to do to win games, but I'm just not feeling it. I'm just not feeling it. You know, when you have a team that is sitting top of the league, they're playing well, you can see the threats all over the pitch, you can see the quality, how they're playing, the solutions, the shapes, the passing. And Arsenal, yes, they have some of them elements, but that fear factor for me still ain't there. And obviously that might linger on from the fact that, yes, Arsenal have been the bottlers, they ain't won nothing. And I do remind these Arsenal fans, like, it has been 21 years that you ain't won a league. Like 150 years, no Champions League. So these things still linger in the background when you look at these things. And for me, I believe that Arsenal will get found out. The set piece thing, we know how elite sport is, and especially when it comes to the Premier League. Once they get found out, and it will take the lesser team to find them out. Someone else a couple other teams will work it out, and then 2-3 bad results, and then everyone's back in it. Arsenal are not 15, 20 points clear. They're only 6 points clear, I think it is, or maybe 5, if I'm correctly. That's 2-3 bad results, and everyone's back in it again. So for Arsenal, yes, they're sitting top of the league right now, performing well, winning the games. They haven't conceded a goal. I don't think they've conceded a goal in the Champions League. I don't think they conceded a goal in 2 months in the Premier League. Okay, but you get found out. She's not going to go the whole season without scoring a goal. So I feel like that is when we're really going to see Arsenal at their best, because we've seen this many times. We've seen Arsenal, beautiful football, top of the league, this, that, Christmas shirts, the lot. We've seen it all. But when it starts to get sticky, when you lose a couple games, when you get a couple injuries, when it gets later into the season and the pressure's really real, and you're playing quality after quality after quality, that's what we want. That's what we're gonna see. And for me personally, I don't think Arsenal are quite there. I might be wrong, I might be right, but this weekend against Sunderland will be a big test for them, because Sunderland going well this season, going well in the league. I think currently sitting third or fourth, I think it is. They're sitting in the league, and obviously, again, for Sunderland, yes, for their fans, it'll be like a throwaway game. Arsenal sitting top of the league, one of the best teams in the league. Go out, have a good day, back in the Premier League. If they lose, they lose. But again, I feel like they want to go and make a claim, stake a claim, get a result, get the fans on board, and really push and ignite their season. And they're having an amazing season so far. And this is why they're in the Premier League. This is what they're here for. This is what the players have signed for the club for, to go out and express themselves in these games and go and get a victory. So it's going to be a tough game for Arsenal. Me personally, I do expect Arsenal to go on and win the game over this quality, with the quality that they got. Obviously, they have got a few injury issues. Gyökeres, I think he's out. I think he still hasn't come back. In the likes of Odie, the likes of Noni. But Moreno playing up front, some say he's better than Gaio. Arsenal still managing to get the goals. Rice performing really well. Saka starting to show consistency after his injury. So, yes, I do expect Arsenal to go on and win this game and continue to be top of the league going into the next dreaded international break. Everybody hates the bloody international break. Me too. But you know what? It is what it is. It's World Cup year. So let's just embrace it, because this summer we're all going to be enjoying the World Cup. So let the players, let's see how the English boys are gonna perform. Let's see how the English boys are gonna be transforming, and Tuchel, because it does seem to be getting the boys rolling. So it's going to be interesting to see what type of squad he does pick, considering the things that I just said, with the likes of Foden, Grealish, and Jude missing out on the last squad. So it's going to be interesting to see who gets into that squad. Moving on. Yes, we got who we're going to go to next. Chelsea. The boy is Chelsea. Poor result in the week in the Champions League. Someone tell me what's going on with Chelsea. But you know why you can't tell me what's going on with Chelsea? Because I already told you. They're just not it. You can't win nothing with kids. And I told you, this model is not going to work for the fans. But I tell you what, it's going to work for the owners, because I personally believe the owners don't have the same vision as the Chelsea fans. And the Chelsea fans are going to learn, because the squad is just not good enough to compete at a Champions League level. And this is just made clear. They're not consistent in the league. They've got a lot of potential. Like I said, there's always this imbalance of is they're going to play good one week, they're going to play good another week. And like I said, always with potential, not every single person reaches their potential. That is just a simple fact of life. And the biggest conundrum with Chelsea is, again, also the manager, Enzo Maresca. First ever time in the Champions League. Does he have the experience? Does he have the know-how? Can he really navigate Chelsea to where they want to be, where they expect to be? And that's winning the Champions League. Me personally, no. I think Enzo is not the quality. From Champions League to Premier League is a very big step. I know he won the Conference League, and I know he guided Chelsea to fourth in the Premier League to get to the Champions League. So I guess he deserves the chance. But for me, I don't think he's it. And this season, I do think there's going to be a lot of pressure on him, because the Chelsea fans are going to realize this. And if this model is going to work in any way to compete give yourself any chance to win the highest honors like the Premier League and the Champions League with this type of model, you need a top quality manager. You need an elite manager that can navigate you through and get you to them latter stages and coach throughout the league. Because what will happen with this model, the top players will leave. The likes of Palmer, I don't see him. He's not a Chelsea fan in and out. I don't see him staying at a club just for the sake of money. I do believe he has ambitions, and I do believe he wants to win the Premier League and the Champions League. So if they don't get it right, then they can easily lose these top talents and end up in a conundrum where they're just bringing in players to keep this money and books rolling. But again, against Wolves, just lost their manager. It's going to be a big game for Chelsea. We all know how the manager bounce is. A lot of problems going there at Wolves. We saw the videos with the keeper coming out and speaking to the fans. And then we saw the manager who's going absolutely crazy at the fans. The fans that was hounding him out got sacked in the last game. Players look like they absolutely wasn't playing for him. So now that he's gone, the fans are going to be buzzing. The players are going to be buzzing. So it's going to be a lot of pressure for Chelsea at home. Again, not really being consistent at home as they would like to be. So it's going to be a big test for them. We know how the manager bounce has an effect on a lot of teams. And Wolves, I believe that they can get a result. Yeah, they can get a result against Chelsea. Chelsea is the type of team, especially with that defense, where you always got a chance. That defense is leaky. That defense is more leaky than a toilet sink on a snowy day. Yeah, when them pipes burst, when they say pressure bust pipe, yeah, that is Chelsea all over, man. Chelsea's pressure bust pipe. When that pressure gets too tight on that defense, yeah, it gets crazy. It gets crazy. All sorts of chances get created. So yeah, just run through the last other ones before I win the show. But I do believe it's going to be a tough game. I do expect Chelsea to get a result in that game. If I'm being honest, Chelsea should go on and win that game. I can see Wolves getting a result, but I do expect Chelsea to go and win that game 2-0 comfortably. Aston Villa versus Bournemouth. This one's going to be an interesting game again on Sunday. Aston Villa playing again tonight. I'm not really sure what the score is again tonight. Someone can maybe tell me in the comments. But Bournemouth going really well in the league. Semenyo playing absolutely outstanding. Really, I know they had a defeat in their last game against Manchester City. Aston Villa also had a defeat against Liverpool in their last result. But it's a game where both teams feel that they're going to get the result and would want to bounce back and continue their good form before the bad results in the last game. I think this game is going to be loads of goals. Like I said, both teams will want to feel like they can get a result in this game. Aston Villa having that home advantage. Again, playing in midweek, Bournemouth have the luxury of having a week's rest. And again, maybe I thought that might play a big part considering Europa League is definitely a competition. Aston Villa will be given 110% in. So I could see Bournemouth getting a result in this game. So I'll say a 2-1 result to Bournemouth in this game on the weekend. Brentford versus Newcastle. Newcastle, midweek again, 3 wins in a row in the Champions League. I said Newcastle's going to take the Champions League serious. I did say they're going to take the Champions League serious because of how their turnout in the last season. And it looks like Eddie Howe, there were some question marks this season because of his Premier League season this season. I think they've struggled to win the last 7 or 8, 9 games in the league, and it was away from home, and there was question marks, people saying, is he good enough, has he reached his pinnacle? But he's doing what he needs to do in the Champions League, and it's going to be a big game against him this weekend. Brentford going really well this season in the league with Keith Andrews, and Newcastle definitely want to be keeping that consistency and definitely will need to go on in this game. But I feel like it's a game that Newcastle could go on and lose, and I think Brentford will go on and win this game. I think a cheeky 1-0 to the Brentford, locking out the game with a Thiago goal. Then we've got Crystal Palace versus Brighton. Was it M12? Was it M12? I know it's one of these motorways, Derby. I'm not really a motorway guy. I drive, but I don't really know all the roads and that. But I know it's one of them derbies. But I did see it on TalkSport. It's something to do about the Eagles. And it's something, the rivalry started something about they had a game back in the days one day, and then someone started shouting Eagles, and then the other one started shouting Seagulls, Seagulls. And that's literally how the rivalry started. And that's Crystal Palace versus Brighton. Both teams going well. Both teams, again, having a decent season. Not as consistent as they both would like to be. Crystal Palace, obviously, in European competition. Brighton looking to get back into European competition after missing out last season. A game that both teams, they feel that they can win. Crystal Palace, again, with the home advantage. But with Crystal Palace, I feel like, again, being the conundrum that a lot of teams will now face is with the fans is when you now reach that pinnacle. West Ham are now kind of seeing the negative side of it, but when your team now gets into that European competition, wherever it may be, it's now about how important is that competition compared to your league position. And this is the conundrums that the likes of Crystal Palace, Newcastle, all these teams that are newly entering these European competitions are navigating. And I feel like this is what Crystal Palace now and the fans are going to want to see. Not had a good start in the season, but kind of petered away. And maybe that's because the European football is having a little bit of a hindrance on them. But it's a derby. Anything could happen in a derby game. I think Brighton will definitely feel that they can get the advantage over them, especially both clubs winning their last game. Brighton convincing victory against Leeds. But for me, I think Crystal Palace have the advantage, again, with like the home fans that I said. And I feel, depending on the result, also they're playing again tonight. And obviously, bar any injuries, I do see Crystal Palace going on and winning that game. I'll say maybe tight. Actually, do you know what? I'm going to say a draw. Actually, I feel like this game will be a draw. I'm going to put a draw in this game, considering that. Quickly, before I wrap up the show, thanks, guys, for jumping in. A lot of people jump in. Don't forget, don't jump in, jump out. Don't forget to subscribe, like, follow us on all of our social media platforms. Yes. I've got loads of things coming out. Just be patient. Thank you for joining. And yeah, love you guys. Appreciate it. So yes, Nottingham Forest versus Leeds. Nottingham Forest again, Sean Dyche back, another home game. Leeds want to be bouncing back after their game against their defeat against Brighton, as we just spoke about. For me, I feel like this is a game that Sean Dyche is definitely feel like he needs to win to get the fans on side and make everyone understand. Because I thought, again, I heard something. I believe his contract is only till the end of the season. So Sean Dyche has a lot of convincing to do with the manager if he wants to stay at Nottingham Forest. And if he wants to stay at Nottingham Forest, he needs to be winning these games against Leeds. So it's going to be a big game for Nottingham Forest. I do believe the fans will be on side. I do believe the players will go out there and give Dyche a good performance. And I see Nottingham Forest going on and getting a victory in that game. Yes, guys, quickly before we wrap it up, thanks for joining. West Ham versus Burnley. West Ham back to winning ways. Last week, 3-1 win against Newcastle really needed for Nuno and his men, and I feel that's going to give West Ham the kickstart that they need. And West Ham do have quality in that side, and they have a decent manager. I don't think West Ham are going to have any issues with relegation again this season, and I think perfect game for them again this week. Burnley getting themselves another 3 points, back-to-back wins before the international break, and get the Irons boys them singing. Come on, you Irons! Yep, I say 2-0 to West Ham against Burnley. Yes, Everton versus Fulham. Last game before we lock it out, guys. Everton wobble last week. Fulham playing decent. I believe that Everton go on and win this game. Home advantage is really good omen to them this season, and I think they're going to win that game. Yes, guys, thank you for locking in. I've been in for a minute, 30 minutes. Oh, yes, just on time. Thanks, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. And like I said, join the PFL, £100 to the winner. £100 winner. We're 11 weeks in now. The code is somewhere. If it's not in the description, I'm going to put it in the description. If it's not, you will find it on our socials. Yes, we go again with the preview. I don't know if I'm going to stick to this time or make it a little bit earlier, but you know what? I appreciate you guys joining. I appreciate you guys subscribing, and I see you guys soon. Let's go, buddy.